I thought I was making the right decision buying that $900 junk house. It was my chance to finally build something for myself. But when my family found out, they kicked me out, accusing me of betrayal. And then my husband, he took their side. Before we continue, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I honestly love reading each one. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, enjoy the story. All right, so let me start at the beginning. My name's Delilah, 32 years old, from a small town where everyone knows everyone's business. You know the kind of place where if you sneeze, people are already texting each other about it. That's me. I work as a freelance graphic designer, so I spend a lot of time at home alone in my studio. It's peaceful here. Well, it was peaceful until everything blew up. Nick, my husband, and I have been married for 6 years now. We used to be really in sync, but lately, I don't know. Something's just felt off between us, like we were drifting. He'd leave for work, I'd work in my studio. There was no spark, no connection. Then there's my family. Ugh, I love them, but man, they're a lot. There's my older sister, Janelle, always the golden child, always perfect. Then there's Tony, the quiet one, always staying out of trouble. And then there's me, always trying to keep the peace, trying to make everyone happy. But the thing is, peace doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't get you ahead in life. It just keeps everyone comfortable while you're stuck in the background. So one day I see this house. It's literally down the street from my studio. And it's a joke. A $900 house that's falling apart, probably full of rats. Who knows? But I saw something in it. I saw potential. It wasn't much, but I could turn it into a little creative space for myself, a place to get away from everything, everyone. I could breathe. It wasn't a mansion, but it was mine. A place where I could finally be me, without everyone's expectations on my back. I told Nick, and he wasn't exactly thrilled. He looked at me like I'd just told him I'd bought a spaceship. "Delilah, you're throwing away money," he said. "We have bills to pay. You can't just buy junk." But I wasn't going to back down. This was my chance. I didn't need permission anymore. So I did it. I bought that house. The day I told my family, I thought they'd be happy for me. I thought they'd see it for what it was, me finally taking control of my life. But I was wrong. So wrong. "You spent $900 on that?" my mom yelled at me. "When we need you to help fund Janelle's retreat?" Janelle just stared at me like I'd betrayed her. Tony looked uncomfortable, but it didn't matter. The family was mad. All I had done for them over the years. It didn't matter. I'd made a mistake. "You should have helped with Janelle's retreat," Mom kept going. "You're throwing away money on that pile of trash, and she needs your support." I looked at Nick, expecting him to speak up. I thought he'd back me up. But nope. He just looked at me with those disappointed eyes. "Delilah," he said, shaking his head, "you don't get it. This was a mistake." And that's when it hit me. Just like that, I was out. I was kicked out of my own family for buying a house. So there I was, standing outside, my family's front door slammed in my face. The weight of it hit me all at once. I wasn't just angry, I was hurt. I wasn't just kicked out, I was rejected. By my own family. Over a $900 house. For the next few days, I stayed in my studio, avoiding everyone, drowning in my thoughts. Every time I looked at the walls, I saw their faces. My mom's face, disappointment written all over it. Janelle's face, hurt, as if I had betrayed her. Tony's quiet gaze, like she didn't want any part of it. And Nick. The silence from him hurt more than anything else. I kept thinking, why didn't he stand up for me? He'd always said we were a team, but when it came down to it, I felt like I was the only one fighting for what I wanted. I thought I was the one he supported, but instead, he let my family rip me apart. I tried to shake it off. I tried to keep working on the house. Well, what little I could do with no budget, but I was driven. I wanted that place to be mine. I needed something to remind myself that I could still do things on my own. And then one night, Nick came to me. I was sitting at my desk, trying to get some work done when I heard the door open. It was Nick, standing there, looking like he hadn't slept in days. His face was pale, like he'd been wrestling with something inside. "Delilah," he started, his voice shaky, "I don't even know where to begin." He stepped inside, looking around the room, but not really seeing anything, just staring at the floor. "Nick, what's going on?" I asked, feeling my heart start to beat faster. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this." He sounded so distant, like he wasn't even talking to me, just to the walls. "You've hurt my family, Delilah, and now you've hurt me too." I felt like he slapped me across the face with those words. Hurt me? He'd never really been on my side. The weight of his words sank in, and I suddenly realized he wasn't just disappointed in the house. He was disappointed in me. "You're making this harder than it needs to be," he continued. "I don't know if I can be with someone who values their own dreams over their family's needs." Those words hit me like a punch. He had always been the one who followed the crowd, always agreeing with whatever was easiest. And here he was, acting like I had done something wrong by doing something for myself. He wasn't the one making hard choices. He wasn't the one pushing boundaries. He didn't get it. I swallowed hard. "Nick, I didn't do this to hurt anyone. I'm doing this because I need something for myself. I can't keep putting everyone else's needs before my own." But he didn't hear me, or maybe he just didn't care anymore. I can't do this," he said. "I think you should go. I think we both need space to figure things out." And just like that, my husband of 6 years had turned his back on me. He didn't even try to fight for us, didn't try to understand my side. The silence between us stretched on forever, and I knew. I knew right then that I had to let him go. He wasn't the man I thought he was, and I wasn't the woman he wanted me to be. Living alone was a strange feeling. At first, it felt lonely. No one to talk to, no one to share meals with, no one to laugh with at the end of the day. But slowly, something shifted inside me. I started to feel free. I didn't have to keep pretending to be the person everyone wanted me to be. I didn't have to be the peacekeeper anymore. I could finally be Delilah. I threw myself into the house. I wasn't just fixing it up, I was building something. I didn't know what it was going to be yet, but I knew it had to be something that was all mine. It was messy. There was drywall to rip down, leaks to fix, floors to replace. But I didn't mind. I was building a life that no one could take from me. The first couple of weeks were hard, though. I'd wake up early, work on the house, then spend hours at my computer working on graphic design projects. But at night, the silence would creep in. I'd lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, and all I could think about was my family. How could they be so cold? How could they throw me away like that just because I chose something for myself? I didn't understand it. I didn't want to understand it. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I had been giving and giving for years, and I had nothing to show for it. Nothing except their judgment. Then came Janelle's post. It was a picture of her at her fancy yoga retreat, her face glowing, surrounded by people who were all laughing and living their best lives. And she captioned it, "Grateful to be living my dream." I felt the anger rise in my chest. I had spent years supporting her, supporting all of them. I paid for so many things I didn't even mention, little loans, helping them out when things got tight. And here she was, living it up, calling it her dream when I had nothing. Nothing except a cheap, falling apart house and a dream of my own. But I wasn't going to let them laugh at me, not anymore. That's when I made my decision. I wasn't going to crawl back to my family begging for their approval. I wasn't going to beg Nick to come back. No, I was going to take what was mine. I started speaking out. I began to share my side of the story, bit by bit. I posted in every group I could find, forums, Facebook groups, anywhere. I told everyone about the years of me silently supporting my family, of how I had put my dreams on hold for their dreams. I didn't just want sympathy, though. I wanted them to see me, really see me, not as the person they expected me to be, not as their punching bag, but as someone who had her own dreams, her own life to build. And maybe, just maybe, they would understand that I wasn't just some background player in their lives. But I didn't just stop there. I kept pushing. I didn't let them forget what they'd done to me. I posted pictures of the house, what I was doing with it. I made it clear that I wasn't waiting for their permission anymore. and I started to feel something I hadn't in a long time: power. Power over my own life. The more I shared my story, the more my family tried to silence me. At first, it was little things, comments on my posts calling me selfish. But soon, it escalated. My phone rang nonstop. Text messages, voicemails, every one of them was angry. They were furious. My mom called me one evening. "Delilah, why are you doing this?" she shouted through the phone. "You're tearing the family apart. You can't just air our dirty laundry for everyone to see. This isn't about you anymore. It's about us being a family." I sat there staring at my phone, feeling a mix of sadness and fury. "Mom, this is about me. It always has been," I replied, my voice steady but trembling with emotion. "You all want me to be this perfect little sister, always sacrificing for the greater good. But when I try to do something for myself, it's like I've committed some terrible crime." She didn't say anything at first. I could hear her breathing on the other end. And then she finally spoke, softer, but still cold. "You've let us down. All of us. You should have been there for Janelle. You should have helped with her retreat. This house, it's a joke. You've ruined everything, Delilah." The words sliced through me like a knife. I had spent so many years trying to please them, trying to hold everything together. And now, when I finally stood up for myself, when I finally made a decision that was mine to make, they were treating me like I didn't matter. I ended the call with a shaking hand. I wasn't going to beg her to understand. I wasn't going to apologize for the choice I made. I was tired of apologizing. But just as I thought it couldn't get worse, the silence from Nick became unbearable. Weeks had passed since the night he told me he couldn't be with me anymore. No calls, no texts, nothing. It was like he had erased me from his life, just like my family had. And every day that went by, I felt more and more abandoned. Then one night the message came. I had just finished working on some new designs when I saw the notification on my phone. It was a message from Nick. "We need to talk." My heart skipped a beat. I opened it, my fingers trembling. "Where are you? I've been thinking. I need to see you." I wasn't sure if I was ready to face him. Was I angry? Yes. Was I hurt? So much. But there was also a part of me that just wanted answers. I wanted to know why he had chosen everyone else over me, why he couldn't see what I was doing, why he couldn't see me anymore. I agreed to meet him. We decided to meet at the old cafe we used to go to when we first started dating. The one with the cracked leather booths and the smell of coffee that always reminded me of simpler times. When I walked in, I saw him sitting in the corner booth, staring down at his coffee, his fingers tapping against the ceramic cup like he was nervous. I sat down across from him, and for a moment neither of us said anything. The weight of everything hung in the air. Finally, Nick looked up, his eyes tired. "I don't know what to say, Delilah. You've changed. I don't even recognize you anymore." I laughed, quietly but bitter. "You're one to talk," I said. "You never believed in me. You never stood up for me. You just let them walk all over me and then acted like it was my fault for wanting something for myself." He winced like my words stung, but he didn't say anything at first. He was thinking, and that was when I realized something. Nick wasn't the man I thought he was. "I didn't want you to feel alone," he said finally. "But I guess you've been alone for a while now." The words hung in the air. "No, Nick," I said, feeling a tear slip down my cheek. "It wasn't about feeling alone. It was about you not trusting me. You didn't trust me to make my own decisions, to be my own person." There was a long pause before he spoke again. "I don't know who you are anymore, Delilah. I don't know if I can keep doing this." And that was it. That was the moment I knew Nick wasn't coming back. He wasn't going to change, and if I wanted to move on, I had to let him go too. It's been 6 months since Nick walked out of my life, and honestly, the whole thing feels like a lifetime ago. The house isn't finished yet, but it's close. The work has kept me busy, and it's been the kind of busy that makes my mind slow down, helps me think and really feel again. No more family drama, no more pressure to be who they wanted me to be. Just me, the house, and whatever comes next. The first few weeks after Nick left were brutal. The silence, the loneliness, it felt like the world was closing in on me. But it was different this time. It wasn't the empty silence of being alone with my thoughts. It was the kind of quiet that gives you room to breathe, space to figure out what you really want, what I really wanted. I spent so many years playing the supporting role, helping my family, helping Nick, and never once asking, "What do I need?" It was like I had a permanent spot as the background character in my own life. But that ended. I was finally the lead, and it was up to me to figure out what the next chapter looked like. One of the first things I did after Nick left was throw out all the old stuff. Old photos, old gifts, anything that reminded me of the life I was leaving behind. And then I started fresh. I threw myself into the house day by day, picking away at the mess, seeing the potential in something no one else saw. Each nail I hammered, each paint stroke, was a step toward reclaiming my own life. It wasn't easy. There were days when I missed the comfort of Nick's presence, the sound of his voice telling me everything would be okay. And yeah, there were days when I second-guessed everything I had done. Did I make the right choice? Was walking away from Nick the only way to truly be free? But then I'd look at the house. I'd feel the wood beneath my fingertips and the fresh coat of paint I'd just put on the wall, and I'd realize this was my choice. This was my life. And I was finally making it my own. I didn't just rebuild the house, I rebuilt myself. I wasn't sure what I wanted out of life anymore. Before, I always had these clear goals that were shaped by everyone else, but now, I had to let go of all those expectations. I had to let go of the idea that I needed to follow someone else's plan. I started showing up at local art events, meeting new people, sharing my work. And slowly, something surprising started happening. I started to find my voice. It was nothing dramatic, no sudden epiphany, but I felt it every time I posted a new piece of design work or talked to someone about the house. It felt like I was finally connecting with the world, with my world. And then, one evening, I got a call. It was from Tony. I wasn't sure if I even wanted to talk to her. After everything that happened with my family, I wasn't sure what I'd say. But curiosity won out. "Delilah, we need to talk," she said, her voice softer than usual. I sighed. "What now, Tony?" "Look, She paused like she wasn't sure how to continue. "I've been thinking a lot about everything, about the house, about Nick, about everything. And I know I wasn't supportive. I don't know why I wasn't, but I get it now." Her words were slow, measured, like she was trying to find the right thing to say. I didn't interrupt. It was rare for Tony to be this honest. I've always been the quiet one, the one who just sat back and let everyone else talk. But you... She hesitated, as if this next part was hard to say. "You're different. You're strong, Delilah. And I guess I was afraid of that. Afraid of losing you to whatever it is you're becoming. But I see it now. I see you're not the person I thought you were. You're more than that." I didn't know what to say at first. After everything, after them kicking me out and abandoning me, hearing these words felt like I was waking up from a long, confusing dream. I'm not who you thought I was," I said, my voice cracking just a little. "But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you don't need to understand everything, Tony. I don't need anyone to understand anymore. I just need to be me." There was a long silence between us. Finally, Tony spoke again. "I'm sorry, I never should have treated you that way." I couldn't believe it. Was she really apologizing? Tony had always been the quiet one, the one who never said much. To hear her say these words, especially after everything, was a shock. "I'm sorry too," I said, "but I think it's time we both stop living in the past, don't you think?" She agreed, and the call ended on a note I hadn't expected, a kind of peace, something I hadn't felt in a long time. The next few months were a blur of hard work and quiet moments of growth. I finished the house, finally turning it into the space I'd always dreamed of. It was small, cozy, and full of potential. It was mine, completely, entirely mine. I kept working on my designs, building my portfolio, and slowly but surely, I started to gain recognition. My work was in demand, and for the first time, I felt like I was doing something real, something that was mine. No one could take that away from me. As for my family, they were still angry, still disappointed, but I had stopped caring. I had finally learned how to let go of their approval, how to say no when I needed to. And that, more than anything, gave me freedom. I wasn't sure where life was going next, but for the first time in my life, I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid of the future, and I wasn't afraid of being alone. In fact, I was starting to realize that maybe being alone wasn't so bad after all. Maybe it was the only way to truly find myself.